Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinephilia.
Hello,
It's me
welcome back.
again. It's Art.
And also me again. I'm William.
Will, it'll never be not awkward. Today we're going to talk about Derek Delgaudio's. Delgaudio, is that his name? How you pronounce his name? I'm
I
guessing.
believe so, yeah.
In and of itself. And to chat about that, we have a special guest. We have our friend, Ryne Strom.
Me.
No, too late. He didn't make it.
It worked on my phone.
Yeah, if some of you guys already met Ryne, he was on Chat Time a few months ago. And do you wanna?
And he's been on Cinephilia before. He is a
Oh,
friend
he
of the
has
show
been on
as well.
Cinephilia before.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus night.
That's right. Do you want to tell people about you, who you are, and why you're here?
Sure. I am a magician, puppeteer, actor. So I do a little bit of everything weird in the entertainment world. But my specialty is magic. I do stage magic, sleight of hand, all the above. That's me.
And
Cool.
since we're talking about In and of Itself today, I figured Ryan would be a great guest. I don't know if you guys actually watched In and of Itself on Hulu. If you
I
didn't,
hope you did.
we're going to be discussing it, so
Hopefully.
you should have watched it.
Cool. Well, let's get started with our usual. Let's hit up some news. First in the news, something kind of shitty. Apparently,
Shitty.
so Universal Pictures had to apologize for using a male actor to dub Laverne Cox for Italian version of Promising Young Woman, which was kind of shitty.
Yeah. I don't know why that decision was made to begin with. The character is in the movie is not male. Laverne Cox is not male. I don't know. I don't even know how that happened. But
Yeah, and
at
apparently,
least they apologized for it. I didn't read the actual apology. Did it sound like
I mean,
sincere?
it was very normal. Hey, sorry we did that. Normal corporate-y apology.
Right.
But so yeah, that was kind of shitty, and they're gonna fix it. But it was just kind of a crappy way to, I don't know, crappy news this week. That was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Regis Cooper says, "Wait, what happened?" So there was a movie called "Promising Young Woman," who Laverne Cox is in it. Laverne Cox is a trans actress, and she's in the movie, and it was a normal movie. And then when it got dubbed into Italian, they hired a male actor to dub her lines, which obviously not cool. I haven't
Yeah.
seen Promising Young Woman either, but this just happened.
Oh, it's so good.
What's it about?
It's about a
Um,
promising young woman who actually she I don't know how to describe the movie or
I
to
w-
give a plot synopsis without giving it away because it's kind of um
Is it like
I
a
would say
drama?
it's a
it's
drama
a
sprinkled with
it's a
comedy,
drama thriller,
thriller,
but comedy,
thriller
yeah.
drama
It's
with comedy.
yeah.
Okay.
But I would say umbrella, if you were to give it an umbrella statement of what it's about, it would be like, I think the biggest thing would be women's empowerment. Um,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
without
even
giving anything away.
shittier that a woman was
Yeah,
dubbed with a man
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
in this. I mean that's going to be a shitty situation anyway, but this movie is about womanhood. So it's really fucked.
Reach
Yeah.
Cooper says, "I know Laverne very well. We've hung out. That's
Oh,
cool.
cool.
We'd
She
worked in
seems like she'd be
industry
really
stuff.
fun to hang out with. I like Laverne Cox
Yeah.
a lot.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things that happened. The other thing that's happened, which is both kind of cool and also kind of scary. Apparently, AT&T and Discovery are finalizing deal to merge into one thing. So AT&T and Discovery. So basically, it's gonna be AT&T, CNN, TBS, TNT, HGTV, Discovery Channel, the Warner Brothers Film Studio, HBO Max, and Discovery Plus will all are gonna become one giant thing.
And they've been working a lot together already,
Mm-hmm.
so it seems to be the next step. Yeah, it makes sense. Um, But like you said, it sounds cool, but also, you know, the monopoly that all these companies just end up having.
Yeah,
Just
and it
keep
makes it so that
kind of frightening.
we don't end up. Yeah, there's no competition. There's nobody making good stuff. I mean, some of them are obviously, and it's like you're gonna get some good stuff because they are working together, but then you're gonna get the shitty side of there's a bunch of monopolies of these companies controlling media, which can be a problem. Not automatically,
Yeah.
but it can be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's
So we'll
that.
see how that turns out. I mean, everyone seems to be happy with that Disney was buying up everything. So maybe Warner Brothers being connected with Discovery and AT&T and all of that, HBO, all together in one big package. Maybe it'll work for some people.
I mean, it guarantees that we're gonna get all the Warner Brothers movies straight to HBO Max and nowhere else. So you're gonna have to have HBO Max if you're gonna watch some Warner Brothers. I guess it's the same thing. Like if you watch Marvel movies, you have to go watch a Disney Plus.
Yeah.
If you want to watch,
And honestly,
Yeah.
as much as I don't like just like advertising for big corporations and stuff, if you don't have HBO Max at this point, you are missing out on some good content. I feel like HBO Max is the
Yeah.
best streaming service at the moment anyway, so I'm fine
Agreed.
with it getting more stuff, to be honest.
yeah, it might be good. Yep.
Do you
This
guys
next one's yours.
remember you remember that movie Attack the Block that was so awesome? That John Boyega was in before he was famous.
I know of it.
Did you never
Yeah, I
watch
don't
it?
No.
See, this
I
is
don't know if
what okay, now I have a gripe with our green room setting because the green room watched Attack the Block on a day that I wasn't there, and I feel like everyone watched it.
Wait,
Everyone saw it
wait.
before me.
I think I know it.
You
Yeah, I remember
you
it. I
were
think.
probably there. I thought you guys were there and saw it.
Who would have brought this movie?
I think Irwin brought it
Oh,
Yeah, I think you're right. I remember now.
because I remember
Vaguely. I don't
worked
remember the movie well.
I worked the next day, and everyone was talking about how awesome this movie Attack the Block was, and I wanted to see it. I had been wanting to see it for a while. Luckily, I have another friend who, this is one of their favorite movies, and so he sent me a copy of the DVD. Well, not a copy. He sent me the DVD, just so I could see it, and I was very thankful for that, because it's so good. John Boyega is so good in it, and they are finally doing like officially an Attack the Block 2. Same director's coming back. John Boyega's coming back, and it's something I'm excited about.
I should revisit it. I remember liking it, but I don't remember it now. Very vaguely remember
And this
it.
is the movie that got John Boyega discovered. This is the movie that he was seen in and got picked up for Star Wars out of this one. So Art, I feel like you definitely would appreciate this. You should definitely check it out.
I'm gonna add it to my list.
Maybe we'll do an Attack the Block episode before the sequel comes out. We might have to do that.
Add to watch list. Add it to my watch list. Actually, Amber and I just made a commitment to watch more movies because we watched 2 movies this week. We actually sat down and watched 2 movies.
Art, you make that commitment every single week.
Last time I made the commitment, global pandemic hit, so it was really hard for me to keep. But
That's true.
New year, starting over. I'm gonna try 2 movies a week.
I feel like I
You know
watched
what's really funny
two
is
nights ago.
yeah. I have been watching less movies than usual because Dave and I have been watching a lot of TV shows, and I don't get into television, but I've been getting more and more into television, so that's been taking up a lot of time because that's a lot more hours than just putting in 2 hours for a movie, you know? So I end up watching less movies.
I did, however, watch 40 seasons of Survivor last summer. So
I wouldn't advertise that. That's like
it was real fun. I have no qualms with it. It was a fun
40
show.
seasons of your life will never get back.
It was in the background. I didn't always pay attention. It was always playing. It was just playing on all day. But yeah.
I feel like I would definitely advertise 40 seasons of Survivor over watching how much you watch The Bachelor.
Oh,
It's a great show. No,
Is it?
No, it's an entertaining show. Great show.
You're just like digging a deeper hole, Art.
I am completely okay with my Bachelor watching.
We know.
I'm happy and proud of it. It's great. You guys haven't sat down and watched it. That's the problem. If you
I have at your house. I think I've been forced to.
Oh, that's
watch
right. You were. Nobody forced you. You showed up voluntarily. We're gonna have.
There was drinks and food. Of course, I showed up.
Oh, well, okay. So we'll do it again this season, and then Will come, and then we'll enjoy it together.
Oh, okay.
It'll be great.
There's a step in that you already know is not happening. That will come part. I don't know what that's about.
Enro says, I saw Spiral. That made me want to watch less movies. And Reed said, I restarted Chuck.
I have not seen Spiral yet, but I've not been hearing good things about it, which is unfortunate. If you don't know, Spiral is the new Saw movie, but starring Chris Rock.
Yeah. From the Book of Saw.
I want to see it just because I don't
this movie
outright hate the Saw. Oh, you're quick today.
I updated things.
You've got stuff to show. Oh, I love this. Oh, this is gonna be fun.
I can just show you my iPad screen. That's what I do in Paints.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, that's Spiral. I want to see it at some point, but I'm in no rush, so whenever. I'm also still not quite ready to go back to a theater yet. Almost though. I think in a couple weeks I'm gonna start going to a theater. I'm gonna do In the Heights. Might be my first movie theater. Oh, that's probably a good one. When does that come out?
That would be a good one.
Early June 7th, something like that. Early June.
That might be the one. I think that will probably be a better bet than Cruella.
Yeah.
So, not much more news. Let me just get through this stuff. So, last night was MTV Movie and TV Awards. And Marvel won a lot. WandaVision won Best Show. Anthony Mackie won Best Hero. WandaVision won Best Fight for Wanda versus Agatha. Agatha won for Best Villain. Falcon and Winter Soldier won for Best Duo. It was a lot of stuff. But then also, like, Haunting of Bly Manor won for Most Frightened Performance. Edge of Great from Julie and the Phantoms won Best Musical Moment. Chadwick Boseman got Best Performance in a Movie for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I don't actually watch the MTV Movie Awards. I'm just reading through this stuff. So I figure if I'm going to announce the bullshit that the Oscars do, I can also announce the bullshit that the MTV Movie Awards does. You know, be equal. Elizabeth Olsen won for Best Performance in a Show as well for WandaVision. I'm just surprised at how much Marvel got, especially because I don't know when their cutoff was, because Falcon and Winter Soldier literally just ended.
Just finished.
So it had to be really recent. But anyway, those were MTV Movie and TV Award winners. Also, Ant-Man 3, the director posted a picture from the set showing that they're using Mandalorian technology to film that movie. So all of the LED screens and stuff. It was a really cool shot. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I haven't seen it yet, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd heard that they were doing a little bit of that, which is kind of cool because and I'm guessing because of COVID stuff, that also helped them not have to travel as much and do things outside and control it better.
Yeah, that ended up being, that Mandalorian set technology ended up being really timely for having to film stuff in the pandemic, because you could do a lot of stuff and make it look like you're a lot of different places without actually going there.
I'm gonna see if I can pull up a picture.
While you're looking for that, there's this new. I just mentioned Cruella. Disney also has Peter Pan and Wendy that's coming out that they're working on, live action retelling of Peter Pan, because they're still doing all of that. But the actress who is playing Tinkerbell, I guess she was at the MTV and Movie Awards last night and let slip a little bit about this new version of Tinkerbell. The quote says, she was asked about working on the movie, and she said, Tinkerbell is really fun. I think what I like most about this take is that Tinkerbell is coming with a lot of agency. She may be a famous sidekick, but I love the fact that she is driven and motivated in her own ways. So it's still really broad. There's not a lot of details specifically about who this new Tinkerbell is, but it sounds like they're trying to add something to the character to make her...
Is this a Disney Tinkerbell?
Yeah, it's Disney's Tinkerbell. And it's a black actress that's playing Tinkerbell as well.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Oh, cool.
Her name is Yara Shahidi. And I guess Jude Law is playing Captain Hook in that movie. And I don't know who else is actually casting it, but we'll see how that turns out to be. They haven't released any imagery from it. No like costume designs, no set photos or anything like that. So Disney's good at keeping that kind of stuff.
And that comes out this year?
I think that's still a little ways to go. I think that might be next year.
Yeah, this is
because stuff did get pushed back, you know. Yes, Zoom. And the last thing that I have, which is probably the most exciting news that I heard this week, and you guys know how I feel about Zack Snyder, like not a huge fan, but apparently during the course of the pandemic, he was writing a script for 300 Part 3. We don't need that. We don't need another 300 movie. But he said that his script ended up being more of a gay love story starring Alexander the Great. So instead of writing 300, he kind of like just started writing, and what came out ended up being this gay love story that had nothing to do with 300. And he wanted to make this movie instead, and approached Warner Brothers about making this movie instead. And they said, no, we want 300 Part 3. So Zack Snyder now has this gay Alexander the Great love story script fully written, ready to go. And I hope someone else other than Warner Brothers picks it up, because I'm actually interested to see how he would tackle that.
I'm interesting.
Because 300 is already pretty homoerotic to begin with. Let's be honest. So I would much rather see this than another 300. We don't need that.
No, we've seen two of them.
I don't think anyone asked.
I did read looked through quick. I read a quick review of the Army of Dead movie that just came out on Netflix for it.
Yeah.
And it one of the things that I really like that it stated is that he finally found his immaturity, I think is what he found. Basically, he found ways to be funny. Because all his movies tend to be like dark and like moody and stuff, and then I think with this one he actually tried something new and got like comedy elements and funness to that he's lacked in his movies before. So I'm kind of interested in seeing it now.
Yeah, I've heard Army of the Dead is actually very entertaining. Everyone that I have seen that has seen it mentioned that they enjoyed it. Not that it was like the most amazing movie ever, but it was very, very enjoyable for what it is. So, and it's going to be on HBO. So no, it's going to be on Netflix actually.
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to watch it because I can just stream it.
Yeah. And by the way, here's that picture of Ant-Man set. That's like it's a ball, like a reflective ball inside the volume.
Oh, cool.
So the whole set is just like screens around the whole thing to make it look like you're inside the world that, where the location you're supposed to be in. And those screens look fucking fantastic. They're not like Mickey and the Magical Map.
Nope.
That's it for news.
That's it for news. Let's go watch some trailers. No, why are you playing?
Fail.
Stop it. I can't find it. Well, this is Hotel Transylvania. You guys can you guys hear it?
With no sound, I can't hear anything.
Okay.
I mean, I can hear us, but I can't hear the.
Yeah,
the
I don't know
trailer.
why it's there playing out of
Okay, Will, we got to do the dialogue. Let's go.
Oh no, they've already recast Adam Sandler, and they didn't pick me. So
Yeah, so it's, the Discord actually posted this today that apparently Adam Sandler was replaced by Brian Hull. If you guys don't know Brian Hull, he's a YouTuber and he's been doing a bunch of like Disney voices. He's the guy who goes to Disneyland and Disney World and does character voices for the characters that he meets, and he's made a ton of YouTube videos. He replaced Adam Sandler. They just announced. I don't know why.
That's why it's very important that we hear the sound on this trailer, because I want to hear if he does like a good job impersonating him, or if he's doing a new take, or what.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Okay, let's try.
I can hear.
Hey, Drac, what's up? Here's to Hotel Transylvania.
Johnny worked so hard to make this extra special.
Fire!
Oh, that's not good.
Nice one, Blobby.
Okay. Thank you, dear son-in-law.
I ruined everything.
They don't actually know what he sounded like before.
Your dad never really thought of
It
me as
sounds
part of the
pretty much like
family.
him.
All because I'm not a monster.
I mean, it's not like a.
You want to become a
special voice
monster,
or
huh?
anything, so-
Van Helsing?
The monstrification ray turns humans into monsters and monsters into humans.
But is it safe, though?
Great question. Huh?
That's weird. Nothing happened. Ugh. The nightmare! It's over! I'm human again! Hey, Drac, what's up?
Johnny? Oh, no.
Drac?
No, it can't be.
You're human and I'm a monster. It's like Freaky Friday, but on a Tuesday, though.
Transform Mania.
What's going on?
My fur.
What the? What's up, fellas? Frank? Oh, I'm balding?
Vintage Cooper says, I don't care. I don't think I do either. Amber did see the first one. She saw the first one and told me it was like a cute kids movie. Like it wasn't awful. Yeah, I don't really care either.
Not terrible.
I've only seen the first one as well. I've not seen. If this is part 4, then that means I would have to watch 2 and 3 before this, and that's probably not happening anytime soon. So, but yeah, the first one was fine. But
yeah, I think. I mean, it's obviously just a cute movie. It's just a kids movie. I mean, and this is Brian Hull. That's him, and that's Chris Villain, and those are 2 puppets I made for them. Yay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I was going to ask who made the puppets.
I did.
Yeah, I didn't know who made those.
And then next one that we have is for Snake Eyes. The G.I.
Were you
Joe
about to say
Snake
Stink Eyes?
Snake Eyes.
Okay.
I don't know. Again, I don't know that I was excited to see this movie. I didn't even see the first G.I. Joe. But, here we are.
Every warrior has a beginning.
I'm on a new level.
For 600 years, our ninja have brought peace to the world.
I'm on a new level.
I need warriors like you. Join us.
What do I have to do? The journey from here is yours to decide.
I'm just going to be honest. I'm already more sold on this than I was for either of the previous G.I. Joe
That is
movies.
just the beginning.
I'm on a new level.
This already looks better.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this was response to how this is the beginning again. How people reacted to when G.I. Joe, this character in G.I. Joe movies, and he was kind of dumb. He looked really cool, but they totally underrepresented him. He was just not anything. So I think they decided that he had a big fan base and made a movie about him. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it looks a lot better than I expected, to be honest. And I like the cast. The people that I've just saw in it are all actors that I actually like. So
Terrence Clark said, I care because Brian Hall got the role for Chance of Anything. Yeah, that's the reason I brought it up, because I thought it was cool that somebody who's just doing the thing they love was able to do something with it, and it's great. Actually, it probably opened a bunch of doors for him, and he's probably going to continue to work in animation now.
Especially if he's good at voiceover. He, that's a awesome way in.
Yeah. Green Knight.
Yes.
Is this the same G.I. Joe movie verse? Asked Reed H. Cooper. I think it is supposed to be. This trailer is Green Knight. It's an A24 movie based. I wrote notes down. Let's just watch the trailer.
It's like an Arthurian legend.
Friends.
I can't wait for this.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters. Who can regale me and my queen with some myth? Or tale?
Yes, the A24 logo.
O greatest of kings, let one of your knights try to land a blow against me. Indulge me in this game.
I will meet thee.
One year hence.
Another year nearly gone already. You must seek him out.
Was it not just a game?
Perhaps. But it is not complete.
You'll find no mercy, no happy end.
Why do you stop me?
Your doom is at hand.
You rest your bones. I'll finish your quest for you.
Oh, cool.
And what do you hope to gain from facing all of this? Honor.
That is why a knight
That
does what he
shot.
does.
Looks so cool.
Are you ready?
When is this coming?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Alex,
This summer. Not specific.
This was supposed to come out already. This was supposed
Yeah.
to have been out already. They pushed it back because of the pandemic. And so I can't wait. I've already been waiting too long.
Yeah.
That looks so awesome.
That's really
And
good.
I want more period movies starring people of color. Please give me more of this. This is what I want.
Kenny says, I really hope this is as good as it looks visually. It's an A24 movie, so it won't suck, I don't think.
Yeah.
They generally do pretty good stuff, so it's a good chance that it's going to be great. I just want to check in with everybody we're streaming both today on YouTube and Volume, and I want to check in with people everywhere. Hello, friends on Volume. Cindy is back. She joined us last week. We met her last week.
Hey, Cindy.
And then we have Adele. I don't know if it's the Adele, but
I bet it is.
maybe. Oh, Adele waves. Yeah. So let's next trailer. This is for a oh my god, I just forgot his name. I don't know if you're stupid when I remember his name.
Who is it? Describe him.
Director of Scott Pilgrim.
Now you can't think of any of his movies.
That guy. Let's just watch it.
Throughout all the years
No,
that I've
not
been
Beck.
making music, if you get on a tour bus with a bunch of musicians,
The documentary.
eventually the conversation will go to Sparks.
I remember just seeing them all the time, like, who are those guys?
They are a band who you can look up on Wikipedia and know nothing.
We are Sparks.
Dude.
Please welcome Sparks!
Frequently asked questions about Sparks. How many albums are there?
25 albums.
Are you brothers?
We are brothers.
How did you first meet?
We are brothers. Music at its best. You hear it and you go, oh my God, what is that?
It's insane, but it's fantastic.
Each time you'd go to the rehearsal, there'd be something new there. Like, that's good.
It wasn't like anything else.
All pop music is rearranged Sparks. That's the truth.
There are throwaway riffs that other bands have built whole careers out of.
One of my favorite moments is John Lennon ringing up Ringo Starr.
You won't believe what's on the television.
It was the sound of the future.
Sparks is way more prolific than all of the artists we consider to be the greatest in the world.
They sort of set a template that a Beatle would pretend to be Ron. That's amazing.
They were taking all their creative juices and putting it into something that they loved.
They were a bit much for most people.
The culture just wasn't there yet.
Is there anybody out there at all right now?
They've reinvented themselves several times.
The thing that marked them was their unwillingness to give up.
That sounds like the scene from our biopic.
Our time has come.
Here we are.
They may have given birth to other bands who don't even know that the lineage goes back to them.
Still are waiting to get paid back for that.
Why have you resisted doing a documentary until now?
We didn't want to do the standard documentary full of talking heads. It would become too dry.
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That looks cool.
I'm really
Yeah.
interested in a movie that's directed by a documentary directed by Edgar Wright, because he's such a cool visual storyteller. It'd be interesting to see what he does with a documentary.
But I also love the fact that it's a documentary about musicians and music, because all of his movies have this really cool rhythm to it.
Yeah.
A lot of his stuff is always synchronized to music, so I think that is a good fit. I mean, it's it right there. He was born to make this documentary. So cool.
Cool. One quick thing before we move on. To our friends on Volume who are checking us out for the first time, we are Perception Studio. We are a studio who streams all kinds of stuff. We have a movie talk show. After this show, we have a paint show, kind of like Bob Ross. Like we show you how to paint something. We have D&D shows. We have comedy shows. We have talk shows. We have all kinds of stuff. So I want to just nope, that's not it. I wanted to play our trailer for you guys.
And we are
So you see what we do.
Perception Studio.
Wild turkey that hungers for blood.
Hey.
How goes Dandy? Hi, I'm Haley.
And I'm Andrew.
Fuck you. Yes, I'm kind as shit.
The room begins to fill with a bunch of cola. Our heroes begin to drown.
What my favorite movie of each year was?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally fine if I get crushed by a giant dragon slong. If that's how I'm gonna go, then that's a way to go. I believe you.
I say, tickle this, bitch. And I take.
We'll Cinephilia later.
That was almost good.
I don't understand. $200 in overpriced. Look under your seats because everybody gets a reroll. So you get a reroll. You get a reroll. You get a reroll.
I hate it so much. And people are like, no.
Sexual stuff. But we're just a little more grounded. So your profession is in the sky.
Get in here.
Get in the
I gotta stop squeezing out of. Scoot your fucking chair over. No, go away.
Oh, jeez.
And that's us. So check us out. We stream. We have content exclusively on Twitch. That's only for Twitch, and any of our content that streams on YouTube, we're also streaming here on Volume. So look for us on Volume, look for us on YouTube and Twitch, and check out our social media. Just Google or search for Perception Studio. You're going to find us. And that's what we do. So welcome, everybody. And let's get started with our talk about In and of Itself.
Woo!
Woo!
I love all these new layouts you have. You just
I
have
know,
us
I've been
floating
working.
around this whole screen, and we're so animated.
So In and of Itself was so it's not people, and it's not a magic show per se. It's like a
No, they don't want it to be known as a
theatrical
magic.
experience with magic elements.
Yes.
That was and obviously Derek is a magic in background, but it is more than just a magic show because and so it played Off-Broadway for a while, and it actually got extended for a few months after it did really well, and I luckily got to see it live when it got extended. I happened to be in New York, and it was right when it got extended, so I got to watch it. It was amazing, and Stephen Colbert saw it, and he decided that this should be filmed and played for people. So they filmed it, and he executively produced the Hulu version of this that is now playing on Hulu. Oh, yeah, and it's also directed by Frank Oz, which is also awesome.
So awesome.
So if you have not seen In and of Itself, we're probably going to spoil a bunch of stuff. But even if you know what's happening, it's still a really cool experience to do watch. I do suggest that if you have not watched the show, do go watch it. It's on Hulu. It's literally worth paying for a month of Hulu for me to go watch it because it was such an interesting theatrical experience, and what you see on film, it is very much what happened live. There's nothing about the film version that is any different than what I saw in person. So they did a really good job of transferring it over and not trying to do too much with it.
I don't know how to actually start this conversation. Like, or if you have something to say, Ryan, go ahead.
I was just going to say I was happy to know someone who got to see it because I had wanted and tried to see it several times, but was unable to. And then when it closed, I was like, well, there's no chance I'm ever going to see it because I didn't know that they were producing this at all.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So I was relieved when I watched it because I was so blown away watching it on Hulu. And I was like, some of this stuff couldn't have been the same. And it was one of those where even when you see it, I've heard both sides where people that see it in person have questions about like, could this have happened? Could this be a stooge? Could this be this? And then vice versa with the people that have seen it streaming are like, well, they got to edit whatever they wanted. So it was nice to know Art, who actually got to see it in person, to be like, so what about this? And what about that? And he was like, no, it's exactly how he experienced it. And I've heard even a lot of people say that it heightened it a little bit because they were able to hyper focus on, I mean, anytime you film something, you can make people focus on what you want them to focus. When it's live, there's so many other elements that can distract you. So I've heard some people say that it was even more powerful watching it filmed.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because they were able to show you exactly what they wanted you to see. Thanks, Feel Good. Yeah, I'd actually, I forgot to say, it actually premiered here in LA in 2016, was here for 3 months, and then it went away, and then it went to Off-Broadway for a bunch of time. Yeah. So it said, so it's mentalism. Not all of it. It's literally a mixture of a bunch of different type of magic stuff and storytelling. Primarily, it is a story. There are like 6 magic tricks in the whole show. That
was Derek's biggest thing whenever he would do an interview about the show. He purposely wouldn't talk much about the show because that kind of defeats the purpose of the show a little bit, because in general it's about labels, I guess I would say. And he was saying, like, I didn't want it to be known as a magic show because it's not a magic show, but because I'm a magician doing a show and there's magic in it, a lot of people expect a magic show. So their biggest problem was marketing it. And it was working really well. And then when Stephen Colbert saw it, and then he helped it blow up a little bit by telling people and bringing Derek on and explaining how amazing it was and how it blew him away. And then that's when the reviews started to go down because so many people started going to see it. And then the reviews on TripAdvisor and all those different sites started to give 1-star reviews because they're like, what the heck? And we went because Colbert said this is a cool magic show, and we went, and this is like not a magic show. So, which I get, again, I think perfectly demonstrates a big portion of what the whole thing is about, because
yeah,
when you categorize something the way that you expect it to be in that category, it's not exactly what it is always.
Yeah,
yeah.
and that
a big part of the. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead. You go.
I was just going to say a big part of the show for me was about understanding perception and perspectives, and how what you perceive of someone else or a situation might be different from what that other person is actually, from what their perspective actually is. And the whole idea with the label thing really puts that all into such great perspective. So the show starts out with everyone who's in the audience. When they arrive, there's this wall of little cards that have I am, and then, you know, just like what's on the screen right now, and these little cards that have I am, and then a description of what that is. That, you know, it could be ninja, it could be an artist, it could be you know, a teacher, whatever. It could be a profession, it could be like a personality type, just all these descriptions. And everyone that's coming in to watch the show picks a card that they think describes them. And then those cards get used throughout the show, and things happen based on some of that stuff. And it's really, you know, really cool to see how, what people think of themselves versus how other people perceive them. It's really brilliant. All right, I want to ask, what card did you pick when you
I found
there?
Puppeteer.
You did?
I did, yeah.
That's awesome.
That was kind of cool.
Didn't you say you didn't stand up though at the end?
I didn't stand up at the end, and we'll get to that. I didn't. Because introvert me and confusion and anxiety got a hold of me. But the cards, and if you guys see the picture here, there was like hundreds and hundreds of cards. The wall was probably maybe a bit longer than that, and the theater only held maybe 100, 150 people. It was a very small theater, so the majority of those cards didn't get taken. So you had to take one. When you walked in, you took it, you picked the card, and then you memorized what you were. It just said I am, whatever it's gonna be, and then like this, it would say, I am a freak, I am a nun. So, and then you would just hand it to somebody. There's a person, while you were walking seats, there's a person just taking them, and then she just stacked them in a little stack, and then walked them over and put them on the table on stage. And that was it. Nobody ever touched them after that.
So yeah, that's really interesting to know that they went straight from that stack to see, I'm the type of person that wants to figure out how things were done, but also at the same time, this show made me want to just let it be, and just appreciate how great this idea of, you know, the philosophy behind labels and perspective, and, you know, just let people be who they are and not even worry about all of the definitions and everything behind it.
And yeah, because it that's kind of so I think, and I don't know if Ryan can correct me on this, but I feel like the part of the fun of seeing like a normal magic show is not knowing how they did it and trying to figure it out. You're like, whoa, how did they do that? And that's part of the entertainment part of it. This one took that and just pushed it aside and said, don't think about how it was done. We're just using it as a tool. It didn't matter how they did it because it was the tool to tell a story. It wasn't.
Yeah, I feel like the storytelling was so strong that it helped to be like, it switched something off in your brain where you're not concerned about, well, how did you do that? But it made more of like the sense of the story through line of like, oh, kind of like, especially how he is like the brick. It's no longer brick. It's because this you've associated with something different. I feel like it was that throughout the whole show of, it's no longer, I'm not watching a trick. I'm seeing a story unfold. And you kind of get lost in the story, which is, I've seen people attempt to do this with magic and it never, for the most part, never works.
It's hard.
It's still a magic show. This was the first time where I was like, oh, like that was magic, but it wasn't. I didn't feel it was a magic show, and I'm a magician watching the magic, and like I would think about the magic, but still get lost in the story and the meaning in general.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, this probably goes along with why those reviews fell when people started to go thinking they were going to see a magic show, because traditionally magic shows are more theatrical and lots of spectacle. And this doesn't really, this is just him, like the picture that's here, it's just him on a stage with these boxes behind him and a ladder, and things happen in these windows, but they aren't the meat of it. Like the meat of it is the story. And so you're so into the story and what's happening in these windows and the different tricks that he does all complement the story. So it doesn't feel like a magic show, you know?
Yeah. And so much of that commitment and like the ability to be sucked in by this show was the fact that how committed Derek was to the performance. Like both, so the live performance and the film version were almost exactly what I remembered, but it felt like it was the first time he was doing it. His commitment to the storytelling and acting, everything was so good that you were sucked in immediately because it felt like it was the first time he was telling these stories.
He's he did this like I think 550 times or something like that. That's how many shows there were. To imagine that it went off like perfectly every time is kind of incredible. Because it's an emotional thing as opposed to, like, obviously if you have props and stuff, it's easy to be able to know how to handle a prop and do the same thing over and over again. But to be able to handle the emotional resonance over and over again, for someone who is more of has a history of more in magic than acting, I think that he did a really good job. He looked like a sad puppy dog through the whole movie.
Yeah.
The whole show.
Okay.
So.
I thought one of you was jumping in.
Nope.
So the show is broken up into, I think it's 6 sections. Each of these sets things that you see on the screen on the backstage, they're each part of a story that he's telling. And so it's broken up into 6 sections. And some of the magic that he does is not super amazing. Like it's like, oh yeah, it was a simpler trick or something like that. But the things fluctuate a whole bunch. There's things in there that like I can't even begin to tell you how they did it. Like I've been a fan of magic since I was a kid. Like I follow magic. Like I can watch a lot of magic and tell you that I know for a fact how they did that, and because I've been a giant nerd forever. Not as much as Ryan because he actually did it. But this, I was like, on top of the fact that I did not care, I was just like, I could tell you what my fantastical speculation is about it, but still, there's no way that I could say this. This is exactly how they did it. I have no.
Yeah, there's a couple things in there that, because I watched it the first time the same way that you were explaining, where you weren't trying to focus on the magic, but then it was after the fact, after like the more you think about it, and you like, because this is one of those things that definitely makes you think for a while afterwards, and you just like go over everything, and then I started to think about the magic stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, how there's 2 moments especially that I don't know how.
Do you want to talk about those moments? By the way, spoilers.
I hear about those moments.
The brick and the wall.
Yeah.
The final wall moment.
Okay.
The final wall moment is the biggest. The brick, after watching it more than once, I was like, I get the general principle.
Yeah.
But the wall, I don't know.
Do you want to explain a little bit of what happens? Again, spoilers.
Sure.
It's still good.
So we'll start with the brick. He has a whole story behind the brick, and the whole purpose, again, he's showing you that you associate different labels or ideas with how your preconceived notions of what you've been told or see or label or know about certain things or people. So the brick is a whole story about how a brick got thrown through his home, the window, because his mom was gay. and he goes through a whole story about that background and how he tried to hide that for a long time. And again, showing the identifying of different labels and how that affects people big scale. So then at the end, he pulls the brick out of the broken window that you see there and throws it on the ground and explains, this is just a brick, but that's not what it is to you anymore. Because that was such an emotional story that it was no longer a brick. It was, you can't look at that brick without thinking about what it's associated with, which is what a lot of what he did was about. And then he ends up making the brick disappear impossibly. But then making it reappear on a street corner, which I'm still mad, Art, that you weren't able to
That I didn't go.
Street corner. That was I think that was the second or first question I asked you. I was like, did you go to the street corner and did you stand up at the end? Because the brick at the end, it shows clips of people that go to the intersections that have been called out live during the show from random people.
I feel like that would have been the first thing that I did after the show was over. I would have
been like, hey, we're getting in a cab and going to look at that brick and see if it's there.
I should have, but where we were staying, we got out there really late, out of the show late, and then where we were staying was like, it was like weird opposite direction. It was just like gonna take us hours to go get to this. It was just, I remember thinking I should want to go, but it was very inconvenient, and I realized that I should have done it anyways.
Should have done it. Art.
I didn't.
So that I mean, everything else checks out with the show, so I just assumed that was real too.
Yeah.
But it's, again, that's one of those things where I'm just like, the amount of layers and levels they took to make this show effective, because again, with a lot of these different layers taken away, the show would not be effective and it would not hit the way that it does. But it's just the way that it's executed. It just adds that layer of like, wow, like the extra scratching of the head where you're just, it makes you think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing that
powerful?
The windows at the end were, that's the one that one of the ones, because there's another one that we'll have to get to later. One of the ones that I was like, I guess it's easy to do if you are pulling focus, and so people aren't looking at the windows and some sort of change could happen. It's doable, but it's still, the way that it was presented was just like, holy shit, that was awesome. I don't know exactly how it was done, but so these windows that we see, the 6 windows in the wall behind him, he interacts with all of them as he's telling the story. They're actually like little cubby holes that you can put your hand into. You can put items in, you can pull items out. They're interactive. And then at the end of the show, the way the show ends, all 6 of those windows are just pieces of paper that fall to the floor. It's like, that's awesome. Like I love the way that was done. Yeah.
And I was watching it on a TV and I was like, huh? Just
yeah.
And like,
I mean, because
no camera edits, no nothing. I watched that in person. It happened the exact same way, and I was just like, I don't know where that happened.
Yeah, even my speculation that that if you pull focus so no one's looking at the wall and some sort of change could happen, still that change has to be something major. Like it's not an easy feat. It would not be. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, this is the type of show that wouldn't just do something and be like, well, there's going to be a couple people that will see this happen, but the rest of them will not. They wouldn't do that. So that's where it makes it even more like, wow, how?
And it's kind of one of those things, like when you see a really cool, really good card trick, really fancy, really amazing card trick, and then they tell you exactly how they did it. You're like, I still can't do it. I know how you do it now, but it's that kind of feeling where you're like, even if somebody explained to you how they did it, the way it was presented was very striking, and literally everybody gasping, all at once when it does happen.
Like Penn and Teller doing the cups and balls.
Yeah, exactly. You're like I still can't do that.
What?
Yeah. I think that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was filling there.
Oh. I was just going to say, I think that my favorite moments in the show, they do incorporate magic, one in particular, but I think that my favorite things about the show were the personal interactions, which we get a couple of. So one was having someone from the audience come up and have to take a book and get kicked out of the show early. And I just thought it was such a personal thing to have to pick someone and have them come back to the next show, so that their experience of this whole situation, their perception of this is completely different, because they have to go home with this book and write about what they saw, as opposed to just sitting here and taking it all in. They become a part of the show, even more so. Like, we get magic shows where they invite people up to the audience and you help with a trick, but these personal moments in this become like, you're actually an integral part of the show. Like, the show cannot continue without you. And also the idea of keeping this journal where everyone writes about their experience with the show and their perception of the show is a whole nother, like, that book becomes perception incarnate. I just love the way that this whole show embodies these ideas of, what we think, as opposed to what's actually there, as opposed to what someone else thinks, as opposed to what we think of ourselves. Like, it's all, the philosophy of this show really got to me. I teared up a couple times.
And that book is the perfect example of that, by showing exactly, like, page by page, every page had such a different explanation or idea of what they saw, or like people would get creative and draw or pop up, and just like the things that people wrote, which is, it just shows how different everyone is and how different things can be perceived by so many different people. And I'm just shocked that everyone always came back with a book, let's be honest.
Yeah. So the idea of the book is the idea of the book is that they early in the show, they're like, can we have somebody volunteer? And so basically this person gets kicked out maybe halfway through the show. They're like, you have to go. You have to be willing to go and come back tomorrow to the next show. And they send them off with this book that's been filled out by the same thing has happened over and over in this book. And they have to go and write about what they saw, and then at the point that they left, write about what they thought the show was like for the rest of the show, what they imagined the show ended, and how it went. And so every person who'd volunteer would go leave. They would get a ticket to come back to the next show, and they would come back. So at every show, there was always a person from last show and the person who was leaving early. Like Ryne was saying, of these people, like he shows the book, and people started with like just writing, just regular, like a journal entry. And as people went, they started getting creative. Some people typed things out. Some people drew. Some people made like 3D pop-up stuff. People started drawing on other people's pages, and it was this like crazy like book that got filled over and over by a bunch of different people. And that alone was like really interesting and beautiful to like be and be a part of that.
Yeah. I love the person who just went through and put post-it stamps on, or post-it notes on everyone's other pages, and like made commentary of everyone else. That kind of stuff is so funny.
And the whole show out a bunch of times takes like emotional like places that you don't think you're going.
You don't see it coming, and you don't expect it.
And you're like, holy shit, what's happening? There's this one moment in the show where, is it the person with the book, or is it somebody with the letters? I think it's just somebody different.
It's someone
right?
different.
So one of the way he brings people up on stage is he goes to the stack of cards that have been put, and he like cuts to a place in the deck and picks up a card and says, who is the doctor, and that person comes down. That's how he picks people. And one of the things, he has these letters. He pulls these letters out of the wall, and he looks through them and hands a letter to somebody, and he said, "You are going to have a different experience than we're going to have."
Wait, no, that's not exactly how it does. He does it. There's another step there.
Did I miss a step?
He pulls out all the letters from the wall. He doesn't look through them. He hands them to the person to look through.
That's right.
Look through and they have to decide which letter they want to open. They get to pick one letter out of the stack that he gives them to open. And it's incredible that you would pick a audience member at random from, the I am stack, and then give that audience member a stack of letters and have them pick the one that they want to open.
And all of them are addressed to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all addressed to him, from all different places, and that person opens the letter, and you can continue to explain it. It's just amazing.
They open the letter, and it ends up being a letter from somebody that they care about.
Because each of the different letters they could have chosen had a word that they weren't noticing because they were just flipping through, looking at the front of the envelope.
Yeah.
But in the back, they were each had someone different, like mother, father, sister, friend. It was so many different things. So whatever letter they took, whatever word that was who it was from.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, it's going to be like, I was like, well, you could do general letters based off of the descriptor. And then that was the one moment where my magic mind started going and being like, okay, I'm seeing where this is going. But then when they actually, because they got emotional, and I'm like, oh, wow. But then some of them read them, and I was like, oh, nope, I have no idea.
The letters were very specific to that person, not just like a general letter to a daughter or a general letter to a father.
Yeah.
It had very specific stuff, like that bar that we used to love to drink at, like very specific stuff to each individual person. And so the trick was, as Art was explaining earlier, there's this transformation happening where the person reading the letter, in their head, they're seeing the letter appear, because they see that it's actually to them personally. So it transforms from being like a general letter to, you're reading something, you're like, oh, holy shit, this is actually for me as a individual. This is not a general letter. But the audience is seeing a transformation in a different way, because the person went up as whatever their I am card was, whether they were a doctor or, whatever they were. If they went up as a doctor, they're then reading the letter as a father. And so the audience is seeing the transformation from being this them being who they think they are, and then reading what someone else thinks of them, in a very uplifting, positive way. And almost everyone was like brought to tears reading that letter. Because you're reading all this stuff that you don't really think about yourself, but it's what someone else who is close to you thinks of you. It's incredible.
Yeah, and then that's what he was saying, was the fact that, like, to the audience, this is no longer a doctor. Now you see a father, because when you watch these grown men or grown women break down reading these letters out loud, you can't help but now see them in a completely different light. That I think was the letters were my favorite part of the whole.
That was my favorite part as well.
And so then the whole show wrapped up in this like incredibly crazy way that I also did not see coming. At the very end of the show, so you picked your card, right? And there's like 150 people in the audience. He starts again telling more stories, and then we talk about labels and all this stuff. And he that's the one thing they didn't show in the video, is they had everybody stand up, and they said, and then he said, if you truly honestly, you identified with this word 100%. This is why I got all confused. It's like, I don't know. I don't know why I thought like there was going to be a consequence to me committing to this. I'm going to show there's no real consequences. So he said, if you do, remain standing. And so I sat down. I didn't know what was going to happen. And then he went by every single person and named their word. And he said, you, the dreamer, the doctor, the nun. And it was about at least half of the audience was up, and he went one by one. and telling him what their number.
Everybody
and people just breaking down because he hit an emotional thing, and every once in a while he threw something that was relatable or like a message. And it was. It took like 15-20 minutes, and everybody just sat there quietly and watched that happen, and it was incredible.
I think a lot of people struggle to feel like they've been seen, because again, this whole thing about perception, who we think we are versus how people see us. I think a lot of people don't feel like the people around them see them for what they see themselves as. And so to have someone who, he didn't look at the cards, that stack went straight over to the table, to have someone look at you and then say the one descriptive word that you feel describes yourself to you, that's fucking epic. It's like, I can only imagine. I'm sure if I was there, I would have broken down crying as well.
It was especially powerful to see what some of the words are that people chose, because some of them were very generic, like this is my occupation. Some of them were like funny things, and like one of them, the one that stuck with me the most was the guy that he like just stared at him for a little while, and you could tell that he was getting emotion, and I think it was nobody. Was what his word was, and it was just like, wow, like it helps you realize how other people perceive themselves too, and how it's not always in a positive light, and a lot of that is because of the labels that other people throw at people throughout their lives.
And Dave is in the chat saying, "I'm still annoyed by Bill Gates picking leader." There were some celebrities in the audience for the Hulu filming.
That's another thing that annoys me just in general with magic. I don't like it when anyone, not even just magic, I think it just in general, anything like this that's supposed to have a powerful message or anything, I feel like it cheapens it when you throw in celebrities, but especially with magic, because to me it just kind of makes it go, oh well, you got a bunch of plants, especially the way this was filmed, because this was many different nights cut into one show. But a lot of people that don't understand how editing and how Hollywood works would watch that and be like, oh, all of those celebrities were in that audience, well, this is a bunch of his friends, like this isn't, and it loses that powerful feeling. And just like that's the same way I feel about any magic show like David Blaine, where it's all celebrities in their houses and doing shows, and I'm like, they're actors, they play pretend for their living, like of course they're gonna act like the surprise even if it's not really happening. I just feel like it's more powerful.
I will say I will say that that Bill Gates moment was an eye roller, but I absolutely choked up when Tim Gunn started to cry, because everyone knows who Tim Gunn is. He's a big television personality, and everyone has a specific idea of who Tim Gunn is, and you would think that he would pick something in fashion, something with, there are a lot of things you would think Tim Gunn would pick, but the word that he picked to describe himself was Good Samaritan. And that's not something like, obviously Tim Gunn is a good Samaritan. We love Tim Gunn, but that's not something you would think that he would pick for himself. And yet that's how he feels about himself. So having someone that I think was familiar, and someone who was familiar that picked something that I wasn't expecting them to pick, I think really sent that message home. And the fact that Tim Gunn started to cry, I was just like, "Oh my god!"
He was like physically shaking.
Yeah, he was. You could tell
this
that
was the only one that I was like,
"His should stay." Yeah.
But when David Blaine started crying, when he's like, "Brother," I was like, "Get out of here!" And Bill Gates, both of them, get him out.
I did find, because I think the first one you see is Bill Gates. The first celebrity.
Because I think Tim Gunn was the first one.
Was the first one?
Tim Gunn was before that, because after Tim Gunn, I started to look to see if there were other celebrities, and there was Dave is mentioning D. Ray, who's an activist who was also, he's like the black guy that was in the blue vest. He always wears that blue vest everywhere. He's like a big activist known for it. And so I recognized him, and then I recognized Bill Gates. And by the time I got to Bill Gates, I was like, I'm over looking for celebrities.
But like a couple of them were fine because obviously it's New York, people go see it. But then it became like, oh, now this is the montage where we show a bunch of celebrities, as opposed to if you had like 2 or 3, we're like, oh, obviously because it's a town where they would be there. But then it became like, let's drop all the ones that came to the show to validate.
Yeah, it's like, we get it. Celebrities came to see your show. Okay.
Yeah.
That was
but
a little
then
bit.
like right after Bill Gates was the nobody one. So even though I was like over it for Bill Gates, I was the nobody one we like right back over, because that one was that was rough. Like seeing that someone had picked nobody and then him saying nobody to him, and then the nobody literally just sat down and cried. Like it, whew, that was a bit much.
And you know, there are dozens of ways we could explain how this happened, and we'd guess correctly. But again, it didn't matter. You could have told me there was a camera and he had an earpiece and somebody was just reading them out loud for him. I'm like, I don't care. Like that moment there that you witnessed was you know, you just suspend the disbelief, right? You just let it go.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is happening. I don't care what's happening. It's just that it's happening. It's that what you said. The message was the important part, not the how.
Yeah. It's less about like how did this happen and more about this person is having an emotional moment and we're happy that they're getting to experience this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Again, it's on Hulu still, right? I haven't checked recently.
Yeah,
I think it's still on Hulu. I was super surprised that it came to Hulu. Like once I saw it, I was like, I don't think I'm ever seeing this again. And I had not heard of anything. I didn't even know it was happening live. I found out the week of that it was coming to Hulu, and only because Darcy, who was a guest on Chat Time, is friends with Derek, and somehow it came up, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm so happy for him, and it's coming to Hulu this week." I was like, "What?" And because I had no idea, because I've been.
You remember it was at a online film festival, and I was so excited and sent you the link, and I was like, "Look, it's filmed. We can watch it." But we didn't realize that you had to buy, like they had limited number of tickets for the online film festival. And I just assumed you could buy a ticket and watch it, like any number of people could watch it. So we didn't get to watch it, and I was like, no, I've waited so long, and now I can't. But then I found out that it was coming on Hulu, and I was like, yeah, I can wait a month.
Yeah, because I was real mad because I didn't understand why they sold out of tickets for a digital showing. I think they were just creating.
They've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Stuff that's digital, just let everyone do it.
Yeah.
You know, especially during the pandemic when everybody was home.
Yeah.
I guess I get during regular times because you want to create like demand, but literally everybody is home. Everybody's just sitting at home waiting for things to happen to them.
I get it for smaller things where it's like more independent online streaming shows where you're like, oh, if you don't get a ticket now, you're not going to see it. But when it was something that big, I was like, why limit?
Yeah.
Let people enjoy.
And I think, again, I go back to the biggest, strongest thing about the show is how he performed the show. And it must have been a very personal show. Obviously, you watch the show. It's a very personal show that was written that was by him. And so he was super committed to it. And you could tell that these stories like mattered to him a whole bunch. If they didn't matter to him, he convinced me that they did because he was fully into it. I was engaged by him at all times. He cries like 3 times during the show. And like, as I don't understand how he was able to manage this level of commitment for the 500 shows that he did.
I was thinking about that too. I was like, man, that's exhausting. I'm sure it took a toll on him, and that's why he was like, we're gonna not continue doing this.
Yeah, I couldn't see him doing this on a tour. There's no way he could do a tour this show and have him commit that way. Like, I mean, we're all performers. We're like, 10 shows in, we're like, okay, I'm bored. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna work on something. I'm gonna entertain myself. But like
that, or at least like that, or phone it in. But with
phone it in,
show,
yeah.
You could not phone it in. That's not possible. No one would buy any of it, and it would just be dead.
So I'm super excited to see what other things he's going to do and what's coming up next for him. If he's doing anything, if he's going to try to do more television related stuff, or if he's gonna keep doing stuff. I'm sure he might try to do something similar where he does something staged live, because I think it's more impressive that way. And hopefully, eventually, we'll get to see it recorded as well, because I think that was a very good choice.
I know he wrote a book. It's not coming out yet, but I'm curious to see I'm hoping it's not just like this is magic book, which would be awesome too, because he's amazing at what he does. But I'm hoping it's something along the lines of like making you think. The way that he
seems
does
to be his cup of tea.
Yeah, all his projects have always been very, very unique. I remember following him from when he first started to like kind of show up on the scene, and they've always been very like he's a genius.
Yeah,
he's very good at what he does and what he comes up with.
For all of our friends who joined us and didn't, I just want to tell you, we're a Perception Studio. We are a variety group of streamers. We have this show, Cinephilia. We talk about movies. Today we're talking about TV show. We have a paint show after this show, directly after this show. Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights we have D&D shows. Thursday mornings we have a talk show where we meet a bunch of our friends and a bunch of interesting people. And Friday nights we have a debate show, like nerdy debate show, and a live reading of classic like for 1940s radio plays, and then we do a bunch of silly stuff with it. I want to just play for you real quick our trailer for our channel, so you can check out what it is that we do. We are normally stream on YouTube and Twitch, and each channel has different content. We are currently streaming the stuff that we stream to YouTube now here on Volume and YouTube simultaneously. But let me show you a little bit about what we do. I'll stay here.
And we are Perception Studio.
Wild turkey that hungers for blood.
Hey, how does D&D? Hi, I'm Haley.
And I'm Andrew.
Fuck you. Yes, I'm kind as shit.
The room begins to fill with a bunch of cola. Our heroes begin to drown.
What my favorite movie of each year was?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally fine if I get crushed by a giant dragon slong. If that's how I'm gonna go, then like that's a way to go. I believe you.
I say, tickle this, bitch, and I take.
We'll Cinephilia later.
That was almost good.
The donation of $200 in overbus. Look under your seats because everybody gets a reroll. You get a reroll. You get a reroll. You get a reroll.
I hate it so much. And people are like, no.
You know, sexual stuff. But we're just a little more grounded. So your progression is in the sky.
Get in here.
Get in the brain.
I gotta stop squeezing. You gotta scoot your fucking chair over. Is that better? No, go away. Jeez.
And that's us. We're Perception Studio. Welcome, new friends.
I have to say, you know that it's a really good group of people when you watch that trailer over and over again and laugh every time. I laugh every time I see that trailer.
I edit it and I still giggle every time I watch it. So stupid. Oh, Reach Cooper says, I miss Ace. We miss Ace too. We are talking about Quarter to One. I said it out loud. We're talking about Quarter to One coming back. We don't know when, but we have begun talk. So Ace might be back at some point. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up there. But thank you, Ryan, for joining us. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I want to check in. Do you guys have? We normally at the end of the show we do recommendations, and we always forget. But I don't know if you guys have any. We didn't tell Ryan. Well, he was here before. He should know.
I've been here before. I didn't think of. I watched one thing that I liked, ish. Let me look at what it was. I can tell you what not to watch.
That's also a recommendation.
Yes, we
Will
all
does those a
have
lot.
recommendations. I do D recommendations.
Things heard and seen on Netflix. It's it just came out recently this year. Amanda Seyfried's the lead, and it started out really promising, and I really liked it. And then the ending just kind of, it was one of those where it was like, wait, what? So I enjoyed, I would say, at least 3/4 of it. But don't get your hopes up if you watch it, because I didn't recommend it. Oh, the thing that I watched that I did like was The Woman in the Window.
Oh, you did like it?
Okay. I haven't watched it.
I did like it.
Cool.
It was one that I went in not expecting much, so I think that helped me like it, because it definitely has. It's an interesting one where it's kind of like you love it and you hate it, but I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Amy Adams. Cool. Will, do you have a recommendation?
I'm going to go with another thing that I watched on Hulu just last night. Dave and I watched Saint Maud, which is a A24 horror movie that was supposed to come out a while ago, but got pushed back because of the pandemic. And now it's just on Hulu. It didn't, I don't think it actually hit theaters. It's just on Hulu. But I feel like it's an interesting movie because it follows a girl who is kind of a religious zealot, and wants to like throw her religion on people she meets, and it kind of goes through that thought process and that bit of mental thinking, but with horror. So it's a horror movie. It's an A24 horror movie. So you know how I feel about those anyway. So I recommend it. Saint Maud on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. I watched 2 movies this week. One of them was Quiet Places. I hadn't watched it, which by the way, great. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. But the other movie that I really enjoyed, and I hope everybody sees it. It's called Love and Monsters. It's this.
Yes.
I
Again,
keep seeing that and wondering.
this is one of the pandemic, things that happened. This movie was set to come out in the spring, right when the pandemic started, and it got pushed back. It got a little bit after that. I got one of those like premium releases, which is like $25 to rent it. And I was like, I don't know. I saw the trailer when I see it. I didn't want to pay. I wish I'd paid for it then because I rented it. It was iTunes Movie of the Week, so it was 99-cent rental instead of the regular $4. And I loved this movie. It was so much fun. It did the post-apocalyptic thing, but it did it with humor and sincerity, and it kind of forgot the seriousness of like what a world like that would be, and gave it like this very happy and fun, without being too cheesy or stupid. The humor was great. The writing was super witty and funny. And Michael Rooker's in it. So I highly recommend this movie. I was really bummed out after seeing this movie because I was like, man, this movie's so good. It's such a good movie, and I'm bummed that it missed its theater opportunity. It's still not on Netflix here. Nobody's watching it. But I did learn in doing research, it's that it actually just came out this past week. Got released on Netflix everywhere but the U.S.
Of course,
and it's in the top 10 of on every Netflix in every other country. So it's doing well in every other country. So hopefully
we just can't watch it on Netflix.
We can't watch it here on Netflix.
Thank you, Netflix.
But if you want to rent it for $4 or whatever, it is definitely worth a rental. It was such a fun movie, and I didn't need a sequel, but I would be very happy if they made a sequel to it.
I remember seeing the trailer for. I think we might have watched the trailer for it here.
I think we did.
I can't remember, but I remember wanting to see this and have been waiting for it. So I might just have to rent it. I was getting you can tell me if this is true or not, because it sounds sort of like this from the way you described it, apocalyptic but still kind of fun. I was getting kind of a Turbo Kid feel from it. Is it that kind of?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah.
Okay.
And the
I like
CG,
Turbo Kid a lot.
There's a bunch of monsters. The CG monsters look really good. Like there was, CG that isn't meant to be exactly incredibly photorealistic, but still very convincing. That's a lot of their monster design was like that, and it was so good. Like all the monster design was great. It was such a great movie. So I recommend it. I don't know if it's still the iTunes Movie of the Week. Oh, big thing I learned. I don't know if this is a tip for you guys. When iTunes does, if you have iTunes, if you use rent on iTunes, they usually have movie of the week, and it's 99 cents. I wasn't gonna watch it then because I was like, I don't want to watch it today. I learned that if you rent the movie for 99 cents or whatever you rented, you have 30 days to start it. So
really?
You don't have to start. So I did that. I was like, I'm gonna rent it, and then like 2 days later, I had time and I watched it. So if you ever find yourself like wanting to rent a movie, don't like it's on sale like 99 cents. Don't you can't watch it yet, you can watch it. You have 30 days to watch it. Just don't start the movie, because once you start the movie, it only lasts for 48 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly what I was about to say that. You said it. So 30 days after you rent it, the movie can sit there for 30 days without you starting it. And then it disappears after that if you don't watch it. But once you start it, then you have 48 hours to actually watch all of it.
Cool. Well, all right. Hang on. Don't go anywhere, because we are going to be right back with Perception Paints. We are painting a really fun Hoth painting today. And we're looking forward to hanging out with you guys. Let me double check my phone. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back, or go away for a few minutes and then come right back, because we're gonna go away for like 3 or 4 minutes while I set up to do the next show. But unless you guys have anything else,
I guess just for next week, we're talking about, if you have Apple TV, we're talking about The Morning Show and Ted Lasso.
There you go.
If you've seen those, they're
beautiful show.
Yeah, they're both really good. I was surprised at how good they were. So we're doing that double feature next week.
Cool. Well, again, we're gonna be back in a couple minutes with Perception Paints, and we will Cinephilia later.